Reddit Martian back with another tip-top video for you. r/askreddit. What's your most it broke my heart moment? Serious. When I graduated high school I was lucky to be able to take a trip to South Africa with friends. My grandmother was the main reason I was able to, paying for most of it as a graduation present. She was so excited to hear about it, see pictures, etc. But sadly she passed away halfway through the trip. On her deathbed she told my parents to keep everything a secret because she didn't want to ruin the rest of the trip. Didn't get to go to the funeral. Edit. Thank you all so much for your kind words. Damn dude. That's rough. I'm sorry to hear that. But it sounds like she really loved you and wanted you to have the best trip. I guess it's hard because who wants to miss a loved one's funeral? But even on her deathbed she's looking out for you. She sounds like a sweetheart. And I'm sorry for your loss. One day I got home from a shirty job covered in all kinds of nasty. I walk in the door and get called back out to fix an issue with another's job. I yelled I ducking hate my life as my daughter rounded the corner to see if she could give me a welcome home hug from work duck. I died some that day and had to explain that I love this part of my life, just not the work part. She completely understood, but I couldn't let it go and still remember the look on her face as I said it. I took a week of paid vacation that I had left and had never taken that much at once before. On that last Friday I walked in with a 2 weeks notice note backdated 2 weeks. Said today is my last day. I quit. Walked out the door and started my new job a week after. Best decision I have ever made, and it came from absolutely crushing a little girl's spirit. Luckily she's still awesome and sweet as can be. I heard my dad say what happened to my life once when I was 9, and it absolutely crushed me. I thought it was maybe me and my brother. I never told him I heard him. I still think about it all the time. Be sure to say I love my life a lot when things are good. When my mom died, I was okay until I got to the hospital and saw my dad. I've never seen him look so lost and helpless. Like he didn't know what to do. He always knows what to do. That broke all of me. Not just my heart. My mum and dog died in the same fortnight. It's been such a ducked year. Edit. Hey, thanks everyone who reached out. Really appreciate the kind words and thoughts. Edit. I'm totally blown away by all of this. Thanks again everyone. Hope you all have a rad Christmas. My grandfather, the rock and calm of my chaotic childhood, was dying and asking for me. And my mother, parents were divorced, would not let me go see him. I can't believe it. That's just pure evil. I'm sorry. I worked as a paramedic in a major city. We were called to an older woman who fell and cut her face on the curb. She was drunk, which is why she fell. She didn't want to go to the hospital, but she needed stitches. We were eventually able to convince her to go. Waiting at the hospital, I talk to her to pass the time. I ask, "Where you from?" She says, "I am from," name of city we're in, "but I've been gone for a few years." I ask, "Why were you gone?" Long pause. She says, "I was a drunk. I left so I could get sober. I told myself I will see my son after I'm sober for a year." Guess who ended up going to the hospital to see his injured mother? She came back to the city to see her son because she was sober a full year. She fell off the wagon and got drunk before she could see her son again. Her son ended up seeing her in hospital. She was drunk. I have been a medic for 8 years since. That moment is still what pops up when I'm asked about hard calls. I'd been dating a girl for 2 years before she moved to Europe. I'm from the US. We kept it going another year, hoping we'd find a way to get to the same place together. But then she ghosted me. Still don't have an explanation. Edit. People keep asking me this. I know for a fact that she's not dead. I reached out to a mutual friend who was still in touch with her to check. Damn. She probably doesn't have the courage to talk to you, let alone break things off. Sorry man. I came home early one day to find my GF of 3 years in the process of packing all of her stuff up. I wasn't supposed to be back from work and school that early. She was just going to leave without saying a word. She left a note on the table I still have to this day. I was shopping for engagement rings at the time and planning how I was going to propose. She left me for a guy she met at work. This might sound harsh, but you should really trash that note. Does a lot more harm than good, I'm sure. When my sister suddenly died in the aftermath with my parents, my mother was so happy and full of hope. Now she's depressed every day, having to deal with my own issues of my sister dying, and seeing my mother as a zombie is pretty heartbreaking. It's been 5 years and not much has changed. Recently I would say saying goodbye to my ex and our dog at the airport. She had to move for family reasons. When she was going through security, our pup saw me from 30 yards away and came sprinting towards me to jump in my arms. That love just made the situation even harder. When, after 9 years with the woman I adored, she ended our relationship with a 5-minute conversation culminating with the words "I'm done." Hearing the crunch of a car hitting another car from just down the street and looking to see it was my dad's car. He had just waved at me some 30 seconds earlier. Dashing down the street and seeing him slumped back in the seat like he was sleeping. Following the ambulance to the hospital and seeing them continuing to do CPR in the back, and despite the hope, knowing he was gone. A little over a month ago, my wife of 2 years, and GF for 5-6 years prior, moved a friend into the house under the guise of him visiting. After about 2 weeks I started to notice little things that were throwing up red flags but no discernible proof, so I'll let them go. Then that Friday night our 10-year-old daughter, my stepdaughter though I've always considered her like my own, came to me crying saying she heard them having sex and caught them in bed together. After a weekend of accusations and lies, my wife turned to me and said she loved the other guy more because he was there for her. He's unemployed. So is she. I work my butt to the bone paying bills, and I wasn't. I knew there were problems, but I always thought she still loved me, so I tried to make it work. Was such an icy dagger. I was a broken mess for almost a week. Still not sure where to pick up my life, but I am taking action to get rights to my son, dissolve the marriage, and get my house back. So I guess I'll start there. Edit. Thank you guys for all the upvotes. I really didn't expect this to blow up. Anyone else who is going through similar scenarios? I've seen several on the original post. Just remember, you are better than what happened to you. I am struggling emotionally and mentally, but I've been blessed with a steady head and I'm pushing through. Learn from these experiences and take time to find someone who appreciates you for you. I know that's what I plan to do. I had a friend who got off of a serious drug problem, got housing, got a job in a hospital and was happy and warm again. He turned up dead on his old cruise couch about 6 months later, beaten to death. They said they found him outside and brought him out of the rain and knew nothing of his injuries. He was about 25. I was 17 and did not handle it well. Emmy, I want to make this marriage work, but I need you to tell me what you want. I can't just guess and then have you be upset with me for days when I guess wrong. Well, if your parents weren't divorced, you'd know how a marriage works. Woman here, but wanted to answer because I watched my husband die in front of me and I will never be the same person. I saw his chest stop moving, then his pulse in his neck stop, and then his pupils just poof dilate. He was lying on the floor in the hospital because I wasn't strong enough to get him into his bed when he collapsed. I never want to remember it, but I never want to forget it. I want to remember every moment I had with him, even the shirty ones, because it's a bit of him. I got my first real girlfriend pregnant at 22, dropped out of school, got a job, and married her. She disappeared for a weekend. Said something about helping a sick girlfriend. Sunday morning, I get knock on the door, and some bro hands me a rolled up poster and he tells me I should see this. It's a poster of my new wife spread eagle on someone else's bed. A few minutes later, some bro calls me from prison saying she ratted him out, and she's been running coke for 2 years behind my back. I confront her when she returned. She freaked out and tells me the kid's not mine. Took a good 6 months to get over that shirt. Do you know what you are? That's right, you're a champ. Thanks for watching. Like and share if you enjoyed. Don't forget the bell. Subscribe for more videos. See you soon, Martians.